Hello ladies, welcome to another vlog. In today's video, I wanted to talk about something, a myth that we have been sold. Our generation, people that are in the late 20s, as I am, have been sold. And that would be that if we do not love our job, we're doing something wrong. Because we've been told to study something that we are passionate about and make a living out of it. And things like, if you do not love your job, you have to quit it. And I don't know if you agree, but for me, it makes me feel pressured, as if I have to be inspired and super excited all the time in my workplace. And also, I think that social media is amplifying these expectations that we have to love and be extremely passionate about what we do. But having given it a decent amount of thought, I came to the conclusion that if you do not love your job, it doesn't mean that you are lost. And we're going to talk about that in this video today. I'm going to be doing my hair because I have a work trip coming on. So now it is just blow dried and I'm going to make it straight. Before starting, I'm going to introduce myself briefly. I am Clara, I'm in my late 20s and I am in Barcelona and I work in marketing. I have a 9-to-5 job, but at the same time, I am also building a side project. This channel is for ambitious women who want to grow professionally and build something meaningful without losing themselves in the process. Here we talk about career strategy, emotional intelligence at work, ambition, identity, and how to design a life in which your work supports you and not consumes you. If you want ambition without burnout and you want growth without drama, you are in the right place. So let's start. So here's the thing, beside what we've been told, our job does not have to be our life purpose. Our job is a tool and it is not an identity. It doesn't matter the job we do, it does not define us. I see the job as a contract, as a vehicle to fund the life that we want. And a job can give us skills, stability, and leverage, but our identities should not rely on our employers. So what I want to say here is that our job is a mean and it is not a spiritual calling. All this idea that we have to be super passionate about our jobs, I think it is very weak, because passion is volatile, it doesn't last forever, but instead strategy does. Let's see if we agree on this. But I think that passion is emotional and direction is intentional. So it doesn't mean that if you are not in the perfect job or the job that you dreamt of, it doesn't mean that you cannot move forward. And I do also think that stability is underrated. Having said that, what I mean with all of this about passion is that while it can be a part of our day-to-day life and something that moves us, we do not need butterflies when we go to work. What we need is alignment between our needs and our goals and the job we have. Anyway, there is a big difference between I'm bored in my job than this work or this job is harming me. If your workplace, if your job is abusive, please go ahead and leave it. Take any other in which your emotional self is going to be safe. If your job is draining but is strategic, that's a different conversation, because growth is not always glamorous. And an easy example for people working in marketing, I'd say that if you work as a consultant, it is going to be draining, because being a consultant is you work extra hours and you receive a lot of feedback and maybe you're not motivated about the clients that you have. But it is strategic because you're going to see a lot of clients and you're going to learn a lot. And probably at some point when you want to sweep and jump into another role, maybe in a regular company, in a marketing department, you're going to make a big jump there. That's what happened to me. So if you are ambitious and you're not super excited about your job, but you're feeling a little bit drained, but you can see that it is strategic for you and that it could mean some growth in the future, I would say think about it deeply and internally set a deadline in which you're going to leave that job. But until you do so, please take the opportunity and learn and grow in it as much as you can for your future self. Not all uncomfortable jobs are a mistake. Maybe it is something that you now have to go through and that it will help you go closer to your actual goals. Okay, if your ambition, you want to grow, you want to reach X amount of salary or whatever, maybe what you are doing will help you do that, even though you're not passionate or super excited about it. Passion does not last, and honestly, if I think about the things that I am passionate about, I don't know if you will agree or not, but one thing that I may be passionate about, imagine reading. I like reading books and novels and whatever. If I had to do that for 40 hours every single week, and then I would have to make reports or I don't know, have orders from a boss or whatever, at some point I would stop being passionate about that job. I mean, if I have this passion and I've got a job related to it, that is great. Because of course, if we have to do something that we hate, that's going to be hard to keep. But what I mean is that even though we're not super passionate about what we're doing, and if right now you are in a job that it's slightly draining you and you're not super excited about, I think that having a purpose will be very practical for you. And here's why. I think that my neighbors just started hoovering the floors. So yeah, there is some noise in the background, sorry about that. Having these not super exciting jobs or that you do not love extremely, I think this is not all negative, and we have to be practical about it because it can help us save us some money. It can help us learn some new and transferable skills to jump onto our next job that we like better and that pays us better and that aligns with ourselves and with our purpose better. And our current job are the perfect, let's say it, palestra, like a gym in which you can train and develop more skills. So there is practicality in having this job that you actually do not enjoy that much. We can put our focus there. We can learn new skills and also we can save some money so we can do a future shift in the future. For example, the job that I have right now, I am using my salary, a part of it, to invest on a company that I am building with a friend of mine. And having this in mind really helps me a lot stay motivated or not frustrate myself that much when there are things that do not motivate me or that I do not like that much. I'm thinking, Clara, do this is helping you do this and that. And I think you could do that too. Let's now jump on to the most interesting part of this video, which is how to like your job if you're not passionate about it. There is the situation that you've studied for something. I've got a friend that this happened to her. She studied something she liked, and sadly, right now with AI and everything, what she studied does not have value anymore in the market. So she ended up doing some administration work in a company that she's not super excited about. And here's the thing. For her, or people, maybe you are in this case, like you studied something and you cannot work of it because of something, I think that you can learn to like your job, but realizing what it gives you. For example, for her, she knows that she's not passionate about it and that she is not going to be, but she's very aware that thanks to this job, she can pay her rent and get the life she wants. Having this in mind, she goes to work every day. It is close to her place. She's trying to be open and learn new things and just go with it. So if you cannot do what you really like and you think that in the future you won't be able to because maybe there is not a job of your passion, it is okay. This job is what is funding your life, okay? This is for one case. The other situation, which is mine or maybe it be yours, who knows, is that you have a job but you are fully conscious that that job is only a bridge job, that it is not what you want to do forever. For me, right now I'm middle manager, okay, and in 5 years I do still see myself in a marketing department of a company and maybe in a higher rank. Who knows? But that is what I am going to work towards too. But if I ask myself what I want to be in 10 years, the truth is that I do not see myself working in a company. I see myself having my own company and running my own company. So that can be extremely frustrating because I'm very ambitious. I want to have my own company, but I know that the situation right now, as I do not have external funding or whatever, I have to have a job in order to fund my own projects, okay? And another thing of the work that I am right now is that the field that we are in, which is tax and accounting, I find extremely boring, and I work with content, which means that I have to read a lot of stuff and write scripts and think about social media things and strategies, blah blah blah, about topics that I couldn't care less. That's the truth. But if I keep thinking like that, I'm going to get frustrated because I'm going to be thinking, I do not like what I do. I'm not passionate about it. What we said in the beginning of the video, passion is volatile. So I do not expect myself to be passionate about any job that I have. So what I am doing in order to enjoy a little bit this work is, instead of trying to be passionate about it, what I think about sometimes, which helps me endure a field, a sector that I do not like at all, tax and accounting, I repeat. But what I think is that the company that I work for, which is a SaaS, it is very useful for a lot of people in Spain, and it really makes their lives easier when they use it, because it is aimed for freelancers or for very small companies, and it helps them having a lot of control on their company and with everything related to tax and accounting. Okay. When I have to think about videos or content that we are going to do, I try to remember myself that what I'm doing will help someone like me in the future who's opening their business and who's just trying to have their idea valid on the market and make a living out of it. And me thinking that I am contributing to that by doing, for example, educational videos, that gives me some sort of satisfaction. So what I want to say and what I mean with all of this is that if we do not like extremely what we're doing, there are things that we can find inside this job that can give us some satisfaction in order for us to not burn out and to be intentional when we work. Another thing that helps me like the job that I have, even though if it's in a field that I do not care about, is that, as I said before, in the future, I want to have my own company. And in order to have and run my own company, I need some skills, like some precise skills. And I try to repeat myself all the time that I am now getting paid to learn the skills that in the future will build my business. So when I go to work and there is something that I do not like to do, or something that I think that I should not do, or maybe a colleague of mine should be doing because it's not exactly my thing or whatever, instead of being, oh, this is not mine to do, or I'm not excited about this, or this is not easy, I have to make an effort, whatever, I think, oh my God, Clara, you've got the opportunity to learn this, which probably you're going to use in your own company. And for example, right now, I'm learning things in my work that the company that I'm funding with my friends, I am applying to that knowledge, that knowledge that I get from my regular job, I do apply it to my own project. And at the same time, there are things that I learn when I work for myself that I bring back to my regular job, the marketing one, my 9-to-5 job. And those skills, that knowledge that goes this way helps me grow faster inside my job. Even though I'm not super excited about the field that I'm in, I have found things that make it bearable, and I also worked a lot on the relationships that I have in the office and with my colleagues in order to make it a pleasant place to be and spend the majority of my time. Because let's be honest, we share a lot of time with our colleagues, like 40 hours a week. That's insane. I think it's more hours than with my fiance. So having nice relationships at work is going to be more easy, more likable, because you're working and maybe you're laughing with your colleagues, and that is amazing. And as I said, for me, this is a transitional job. It is a bridge job because I want to keep growing so that in 10 years I am an amazing professional. So I can run my own company as I want and with a lot of knowledge. With everything that I have said, I hope it does spare you some frustration if you feel that you're not passionate about your job. I think that passion is not that important and that we should treat jobs as employees as they are, as a mean to get to our goals and to our purpose. So learn as much as you can, be ambitious, keep being intentional, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.